name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature somewhere. And anyway, I know in my area it's been a rainy day all day here where I am visiting right now. And so I don't know if it's wet where you are, but if it's not, make sure you, get out and take a walk or something. And besides getting out and getting some exercise, make sure, as always, is that you be kind to yourself and others, not just your family or friends, but people out in the world. Really, the way things are going on in this world, we really do need peace. We need to love each other and forgive each other. It says in the Bible to forgive them, for they know not what they do. And besides, being kind to other people out in public, don't forget your little furry friends and the not so furry friends. Plus, make sure you're working on yourself and trying to be the change that you want to see in this world. And it starts with me and it starts with you. So anyway, today I want to talk about something different. Did you know is that there are ways you might know and you might not know about this, and this is why I wanted to make this video, did you know that you can pick up negative energies or unclean spirits out in the world, out in your community, out in public places? I don't know where you go. I don't know where you spend your time. Maybe you got some family members or friends or loved ones, and you might have, a lot of people do, they might have somebody that's, like could be in alcohol or could be in drugs, or they might have anger problems or some kind of thing is, their life is not quite right, where they might have different problems or health problems. And or even when you go out in public, whether you know this or not, we all have like an aura, like we're in a bubble. And with that aura, if you are like arm distance close to somebody, it's kind of funny because when we had COVID, we weren't supposed to be like 6 feet, we're supposed to be 6 feet apart from each other. So it is interesting in those days when we supposed to have been doing that. And today I see still, when I go in line in different stores in my area, I don't know about yours, but people are still trying to, stay 6 feet apart, even though we don't have to. And that's how easy it is for people out there in the world to control people and get them conditioned to act and behave a certain way, because we had those signs, 6 feet apart. And in a lot of areas, certain places where I've been in my area, is that you might still see signs on the floor, like in a post office. I seen this where it actually had, like a spot on the floor where that's where they are still, like those are old signs, but people still are trying to stay 6 feet apart. But on that note, when it comes to your aura, with your arms, I can't really show you. Let me see if I can do this. I'm going to see if I can do this really quick to show you. Whoops, the other way. Yeah, I won't be able to show you really, but my arms won't reach as far as I want to, but you can't see my fingers. But, as far as my hand goes, you're in a big bubble, and you can't see this with your eyes, but they do have special, they do have special cameras that I found out, which is really awesome online, is that it can pick up your aura. And you really ought to check this out. I found this out long time ago, that they did have a special camera, and you got different colors around in your aura with your chakras and stuff, is that when you are like 6 feet close to people, you know, like arm distance or whatever, you are in somebody else's aura. If I had a person standing close to me, our auras would be mixing and combining energies, you know. So if I was standing next to a person that had anger problems, or maybe, you know, the worst is like maybe a suicidal person, and I am standing next to them, I am going to be mixing my energy up with their energy. It's kind of like the COVID. If I had COVID and you were that close to me, you know, like within the 6 feet, you know, like closer in that area, in that space, is if you had COVID, and I would get it, you know, if I was breathing in your air and stuff, I could get the COVID being that close. Well, the same thing with like your aura, whether you understand this or not, is if you are arm length close to somebody, or even a little bit further than that, is that your aura with somebody else is mixing, your energies are mixing. So you could pick up people's attitudes and behaviors, you know, if they have anger problems or jealousy, or, you know, like any of the low vibrations, you know, like, or suicidal, depressed, you know, that energy, that aura that they have from their chakras could affect you definitely, you know, like a virus, like the COVID. So it is so important to understand even animals can get affected by other people's auras, you know, like if somebody's touching your dog and they have anger problems or like depressed, you know, those energies can affect your dog. And then if you're touching your dog, then you're picking up, you know, their aura, just like a germ or like a COVID, you know. So it is really something how you really need to protect your energy. And, you know, you might be the kind of person like Starlight tries to be. Sometimes I'm in situations where I kind of have to do things right now, but once I get free from the situation, where it is best to really know the people that you spend time with, or hang out with, or maybe you're in, maybe you got a friend or a relative. What kind of people are you hanging out with? Do you have anybody that might be depressed, you know, or might be suicidal, might have anger problems, lazy, jealousy? So like I could pick up that kind of stuff if I was standing next to somebody close enough, and without me even realizing it, I could, you know, like pick up that energy. And, you know, I could be affected easily from that person, and maybe I might start acting jealous or angry about stuff and not even understand why. So you got to protect yourself, and that's why it's so important to think about the kind of people that you spend time with. Where do you go? You know, depending on where you go, you could be affected by that too. And that is like, as far as like out in public, you know, you're going to go out in public, like say at a restaurant. So then you got a lot of people going in there, and like, say if you go in a restaurant and the waitress brings you to a table, or a waiter brings you to a table to get you seated, and there is somebody that sat there before you, right? Well, you know, whether you understand this or not, that person that sat there before you, there's like a resin that gets left behind because they sat there for, how long would it take? You know, maybe an hour, you know, to sit there at the table, you know, depending on the family and the people that are sitting there. So their energy, their aura has been sitting in that space, and now you're going to sit in there in that same space where they were. So your energy can get affected even though the person's no longer there, is that there's like a resin that they leave behind that you cannot see, and you can pick that up in your own aura and not even be aware of it. So there's so many ways that you could protect your energy, and that is to, really think twice of who you're spending time with or hanging out with, partying with. Starlight really doesn't party anymore. And who are you going out with? That is so vitally important. Are you going out with the right person? Are you going out with a person that's got anger problems, or maybe they're suicidal or depressed? That is going to affect you. Or, here's a good one. Do they complain a lot? Are you around somebody that complains and complains, and, you might look at the bright things in life and say, oh, isn't it a beautiful day? And they'll let, no, well, it's beautiful out now, but later on they said it's going to rain. Anytime you're positive, they always got a negative. So are you around a person that complains a lot? And it's so important that you really think twice of who you spend time with. And it could be your mom. It could be your dad. It might be you. It might be you. You might be the one that is complaining all the time and being negative all the time and always seeing the bad things in life and not seeing the good things in life. So also is you really have to think of, like, I hung out with a long time ago a relative, and all the time that person complained. And I spent a lot of quality time with that person. So our auras were mixing in, and I got to hear him complain and complain and then complain and then complain. It was like he wanted me to feel bad for him, and I did. I felt bad. And after a while, I didn't realize it, after all the years that I hung out with this person and spent time with this person for hours, like, maybe every day, I was going around complaining and complaining and complaining and complaining. Our auras were mixing up, and and besides, my ears could hear all the complaints that they were saying, and after a while, I found myself doing the same thing. So it is like a virus. It really, you could catch it, and now, it might take a while for you to be like, why am I complaining all the time? Where, like, I wasn't like this before. Like, how is it that, like, I am, like, I complain about this now, and I complain about that, and I'm always looking at negative things and thinking of negative things, talking about negative things. Not, like, I was having a hard time thinking of anything positive. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been hanging out with so-and-so, this person all this time and every day, and, it affected me. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is that there's ways that you can avoid this problem somewhat, not all the way, is because some things are out of our control. Like, you do have to go to the grocery store, right? So there's no way of getting around to protect your energy in that way, because, hey, we all got to eat, or maybe you got to go in and pay a bill or go to the doctors. And, there could be people in at the doctors, and there could be people that are depressed. There could be people that are sad. There could be people with mental illnesses. There could be people in there that are depressed because they lost a loved one. My heart does go out to people, like, if you are one of those people, my heart does, where they, they're depressed and they're sad and they miss that loved one. And it's hard for them to let go, where they love that person so much, and it could, drain them all the time, like for a long period of time, depending on who you are and if you're getting any help or therapy or anything. And Starlight's not all about, like, medications. I believe, that you might want to try other things first, and then, seek a doctor. I'm not saying I'm a doctor, but it is best to try to eat healthier, because there are some foods that can actually make you depressed and sad and drain your energy. Or making sure you get plenty enough sleep, make sure you get out and get that sun, get out in nature, meditations, yoga, exercising, but sometimes people can't do that because they are at a low frequency where it might be very hard for them to go out and to go for a hike and, you know, because they're so conditioned, and it's been a habit of not getting out. So they have to break that habit of like forcing themselves to go out, you know, and it does take a lot of work to do that. I have been there a long time ago, so I can say this because of my experience where I was depressed and couldn't get out of bed, didn't go anywhere, didn't really do anything. And you have to break that cycle and force yourself, and, you know, seek counseling therapy, you know, to pull yourself out and be around positive people. And if you're around negative people, a low vibration, it, you know, like it can make matters worse. Or if you're sleeping too much, you know, Starlight's been there. So those are my experience that I went through when I was younger with my kids when they were really little. You know, so I do understand that everybody is different. Not everybody is the same. You know, there's some people that have gone through a lot of abuse through, you know, growing up, one thing or another. So that can really affect people. And, you know, so there's some people out in the world that could be, you know, like in a low frequency, the fear frequency, and that's the 3D, the third dimension. Or there could be people out there that are positive and in a love frequency where they're letting go of fear, you know, and that they are letting go of fear, but they're like putting love in their life. They're let love guide you, not fear, you know, and that's what you really want to do. And I got that from a deep diver out there, is to let love guide you, not fear. But if you're letting fear guide you, it is going to really drain your energy, and it's going to bring you down to a lower frequency. So what I've learned, because you got an aura, so I want to explain that. Now you know that you have an aura around you, like you're in a bubble, and that you can get affected by other people, and depending on where you go, like a bar room, that would be one of the worst places to go that I can think of, besides like funeral homes. You know, that could be another really bad place to go, where it's going to be a low vibrations in there, low frequencies. People are, you know, people have problems, you know, and they go to bars to try to, you know, drink, you know, to think that's going to help them out in their situation. And, you know, maybe they're lonely and they go to the bar to get a drink and meet with their friends, or even, you know, talk with the bartender, you know. So those are areas that you could pick up really negative, low vibrations. And what you can do is, I made a video before, but now this is a different video, and it's going to be a different thing of explaining it, is how you can clear negative energy out of your body, or like unclean spirits. I call them unclean spirits. You know, there's people that have the spirit of being an alcoholic, a lying spirit, a jealous spirit. You know, there's all these different spirits, low frequencies, and then you got the high, you know, frequency of love and peace and harmony, you know, joy. So what is it that you prefer, you know? So there is an herb called sage, and I have it, but let me think. Hang on. Hang right on. Oopsie. Huh? So I actually got permission to do this in this place right here. This is a brand new one. You can buy this at like a sometimes maybe a smoke store, like a place where they might sell marijuana, or like a Five Below has this. Let's see, sage. This is sage all tied up. It's an herb, and it's making a big mess here, but I'll clean that up later. And it's got string on there wrapped up to hold it together. And then it has like a, you could get like a little tray. So then you can put that underneath the sage, and you take a lighter and you light that sage up, and you can catch it on fire, let it burn for a while, but you want to have like a tray underneath it, so it doesn't, you know, like go on your carpet or your floor, because some of the pieces of sage will fall down like when it's lit with a little bit of fire. So you want to be really safe with this when you use it. And you want to, it takes a few minutes depending on how they roll these things. Sometimes they roll them really tight and it might take a while to light them up. And you can blow on them a little bit, not hard. You don't want to blow too hard because it could make a mess on your carpet or floor. And so you want to blow on it and get it lit up a little bit. And then, you know, when it will turn red. The sage will turn red. And what they call is smudging, which Starlight is learning about that. So this whole trailer here, I got permission to do that today. So Starlight went through this whole trailer here where I am out in the country somewhere, and I saged this whole place with the owner's permission. So that's why I wanted to make this video today, is because unclean spirits were in here, and I wanted to clear that stuff out of here. And I pray, you know, I pray that the universe would take any unclean spirits out in the name of Jesus. And so that's what I do. And besides, you can sage your whole house wherever you live, and I do that all. I did this whole entire space. You know, I start with a door. So if anybody, you know, that no unclean spirits can enter in here. And I'm not sure how long it can last, but it can last for a while, like to cleanse a place, like to take unclean spirits out. And besides doing the house, and I do that in every room of this place, I did that today. And it got pretty smoky in here, and a fire alarm went off, which I kind of thought it would. But that was okay. The owner did not mind at all. The owner did want some help here. And besides that is well, they call it smudge, is when it smokes and stuff, is I used it on myself, and I'm going to make a video on this one day as to how to, and I'll demonstrate that. So you will see the whole Starlight's body, but it will be kind of different because I will look small on here, because I would have to stand a distance away to do that, and I would have to refocus my camera on here to be able to make such a video where I can teach you how to protect your energy and get unclean spirits off of you. And in order for any of this to work, you have to believe that this works, and it does work. I made a video on my YouTube channel. You can check it out, and it is called Have You Ever Used Sage? It's a very interesting story, and that is a true story. Starlight does not make up stories. Whatever I put out here is as crazy as some of the stories I put out. They are real stories. You know, sometimes I didn't put a whole story, but I normally would say that in the video and say I had to leave some parts out. But with the sage is that you want to do head to toe all the way around your body, underneath your armpits, in between your legs, underneath your feet, you know, to do a very good cleansing on yourself, so you can take any unclean spirits. Because like when you walk around, you're picking up stuff. Like when you go into a store, you know, with your sneakers, you know, you're picking up stuff with your shoes. You know, energy is all over. Like, you know, you're just like when police officers have their canine dogs, is they, you know, they pick up your scent. Well, you left stuff behind. Particles of you, little tiny particles of you, fall on the ground, and that's how those doggies pick up the scent without you. You know, it's kind of weird how we're kind of shedding, as just like a dog when they walk, is that, you know, we might not be aware of it, but we kind of shed when we walk. You know, we might even have hair particles that might fall, you know. So it is interesting how the dog can, you know, like find your scent. Well, it's kind of the same thing with energy, is you're picking up other people's, you could be definitely picking up negative energy, unclean spirits, and bringing that into your house. You could have kids in your house, and wherever they're going, they're picking up stuff and bringing it in the house. And so it is so important that you're aware of this so you can clear that negative energy out of you and your house and your space. I recently did that in my car before because I did have other people that were in my car, so I did my car at nighttime. And so it is so important that you understand that you really do have to protect your energy, not just yours, but your kids. Where was your kids last? At their friend's house? Do you know who their friends are? If you don't, do you know their parents? If you don't, it is so wise to invite your kids' friends, if you don't know them, like on a weekend when nobody has to work, and say, hey, what do you like for dinner? Why don't you guys come over so we can meet you? Get to know your kids' parents and their friends, because maybe your kids are hanging out with the wrong family, the wrong kind of kid, So I can't tell you what to do. This is something that you have to kind of investigate on your own. And it is important to ask them questions. Get to find out, well, what kind of job do they have? What do they like to do? What is it, what are their do's and don'ts? Are they spiritual? Do they go to church? What kind of church, So it's really important. Do they go to bars? Do they do drugs? Do they do alcohol? It's so important to find that out about your kids' friends and their parents. Invite them over to dinner. I know it's a lot of work, but it will pay off in the run, in the end. So you really want to really kind of investigate who your friends are, your kids' friends are hanging out with, or your kids, what kind of friends are your kids hanging out with? What are they into? Are they a good role model, or are they getting your kids to do, bad stuff out there? And I know a lot of people worry when their kids are on vacation, and you really you gotta really think twice of where are your kids on summer vacation? What kind of energies are they picking up and bringing in the house? You might have a teenager or a kid that comes home, gets out of school, and has an attitude with you. And you're like, they were fine in the morning, and when they came back, they were being a monster. Were they in public school? Well, then they're picking up a lot of negative energy in the public school from all the other kids that are coming from other negative families, and they're bringing all that negative energy, and then your kids are getting mixed up with that energy, and it can affect your kid easily, and your kid might not even be aware of it. Most likely, more than likely, they're not even aware that they're picking up negative energy. And sometimes kids will hang out with kids because they're lonely, and they might not even like the kid that they're hanging out with, but they don't want to be by themselves. They're afraid to be by themselves, so they might hang out with the wrong type of kids because they're sad and they're depressed and they don't want to be by themselves. So they could be around people or, energy, like vampires out there that could be leeching onto them, and they might not even be aware of it. And they could be having that energy in their body and their aura, and they could come home, and you could say, hey son, or hey daughter, can you why don't you clean up your room or whatever? And they might have a fit and be might end up responding in a really bad way, and you're like, what is up with my son or my daughter? Well, think about where they're spending their time. It's like a virus. It's like they're picking up a virus all over, and they're bringing it home. And after a while, it will add up, and it will grow depending on where they are. Like a virus, it can get worse and worse, So you really do. You want to protect yourself and your family, your kids. And that's why it's so important. Even where your wife goes, or where does your husband go, or what kind of friend do you have, and what does your friend do? Does your friend, you might have a friend that you think is a friend, but does your friend have bad habits? Does your friend go out to a bar, and or go to different places or clubs that are not good, that bring in, the wrong kind of, it could be a spirit of lust, are you, like that could affect you. You know, you might have been fine, and before you know it, you're thinking a certain way, and you're like, why am I thinking this way? There's so many different spirits out there. You know, and like in a liquor store, it's wine and spirits. So there are spirits out there, and you can't see them, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. So you might want to do like a smudging with sage with your body. And like I said, you definitely want like a little tray or something to capture the sage so it doesn't make a mess on your carpet or on your floor. And you definitely got to pay attention. And I will, you know, maybe this week sometime, the timing is everything here where I am. Where I am right now is just temporal. I'm temporarily visiting here for a period of time. So it is iffy when I am able to make a video, you know, like it's once the person leaves, then I can make a video. So if the timing is right, I would like to make a video of how to, you know, like sage yourself, and maybe a little space in this place I could just sage it really quick and just give you an example of how to, so that way you can learn how to do that yourself. It's so important. So anyway, I hope you really like this video. I know this is definitely a different, but they do have different kind of sages out there, and I didn't buy it, but I would love to. Is at a crystal store. Is that they it's more expensive, but like Five Below is really cheap, or you can order it online. You know, look for sage online. It's probably even cheaper. You can probably get a whole lot more. They got sage for protection, sage for meditation. They got lavender sage. That's the kind I want to buy one of these times. But so they do have, like the one I have here doesn't smell as good as the other kind. This might be just plain sage, but I do want to get the other kind. White candles are also good, and incense are good to help you out in your house as far as getting spirits out of your place, bad energy, negative energies. So anyway, I do love all of you. I hope you get a lot of help. You can follow me on Instagram, and that's at Starlight, and that's at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook at Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So anyway, I do love all of you. I really hope you get a lot of help from this. I hope that you're able to get outside and get some fresh air. And I will see you again. This is Starlight. Love and light. Peace.